Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to CCxRC. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Hobby Plus CR-18P EVO. This is an upgraded version of their already very popular CR-18P, like the Rock Van, the T-Hunter, and well, what we've got here, they call this the Harvest. It is a power wagon looking one. So that's what I have for this one. We already have a van. We got a T-Hunter. We did not have this body shape already. So when CR-RC asked me if I wanted to do a review on this and then asked what body I wanted, I chose this one. We are in one of my bonus spaces because I have so many builds going on right now. We're on a side workbench that we have set up for working on things and whatnot, but for now, we're going to use it to open up and take a look at for the first time. I haven't seen this body yet in person, so you guys are going to see it with me for the first time. Nice. It says there's a whole bunch of features on the side here. We'll go through those. Front and rear extra clearance portal axles. So these do have portal axles. They've got metal gears in the front and the rear axles now. One thing I do know is that it does run bushings, which again, I wasn't complaining about that when the Traxxas had that, and I'm not going to complain about it here. I understand at these lower price points, you're going to run into that, especially with some of the other features that they're trying to put into this. So we're going to just tear into this and get at it. Hobby Plus branded version of this remote that we've seen with so many in the past. Alrighty, so here it is, the EVO version, and I can already tell it's got a little bit of heft to it. This thing is going to have a little bit bigger transmission in here, and it's going to have a bigger motor. The last one came with a 50 size motor. This comes with a 130 size. So these do have a few little things that we'll take a look at. But for the tire size, they actually have a bigger wheel. So these are not just 1 inch, these are 1.2 inch wheels. They are bead lock wheels, which if we take this body off, we'll be able to get a little bit better look. It is running some body clips on here, but just a power wagon style body. I just remembered that it is clipped into the lights here. So that light does not disconnect right here. It'd be nice to have a quick disconnect right on the wire here, because that thing is plugged in right behind the motor. So that may be tricky for us to get back in. But for the sake of being able to look at it all, we're going to go ahead and take it off. But there you go. The body feels pretty good. It's got a couple stickers on it. It says Harvest on the rear. It's got a little Harvest sticker here on the door. I kind of am thinking it would look better without the stickers. And so that's something that we'll probably work on doing, is doing a removal of these. And that way we can brand it our own. If we want, we can put our own CCxRC stickers on the doors or something else. But oh, they peel off real nice and clean if you do want to remove them. So there you go. That door just looks a little bit cleaner on there. We'll leave the HP up there for the Hobby Plus, but I'm gonna take these off the door. You guys can see the logoing first before I do. It does have some stickers up here for windshield wipers on there instead of having like molded ones, but there is molded mirrors on here, which are kind of a rigid plastic. Little sticker mirror on there. You got the light bar here, not working LEDs in here, but you could add them, get them installed. You can see the backs on there for them. And yeah, front headlights here, these are wired in, and there are actually tail lights as well, and these are molded plastic. Body feels really good, nice and rigid, and sits a little bit high on the truck when it's even when the body posts are in the right spot. I'm trying to find them. There they are. For my liking, it's just a little bit high lifted. Maybe putting bigger tires on, I might like that more. But it does give it room to articulate, and it's actually very close to hitting there. So I get why they did it. But yeah, a little bit high, but they do perform really well. I found at least the last ones did, with the shocks and everything set up like it was out of the box. They handled so good. Here you can see the larger motor. It was blocking the light where it plugs in, goes right behind that. So we're going to look into some maybe other options. We'll look at the manual, see what all of these other plugs are, and see if we can't plug into a different channel and use something else for our lights, because it would be nice to be able to remove it. I'm not a big person for lights anyway, so it doesn't pain me to just leave them unplugged, but I know a lot of you do want that. Okay guys, here's a quick look under the hood. I didn't like the video that I did on this last night. It was a little bit too much information over too long a period of time, and it was just confusing. So first things first, it is running a 130 size motor, as you can see here, 100T. This is a new 2-speed transmission with the servo here mounted on the side. On the Harvest, they've got the power switch mounted on top of that. So just a cheap little servo. All it needs to do is switch gears. Does that very easily. This has a secondary output shaft here. So there's, that's kind of an interesting thing. I don't know if it's for, if they have a 6-wheel one or whatever. I don't know. They've got a whole nother output on there. So that's pretty interesting. This transmission can take larger motors. They say that it fits up with like the Komodo and can do up to a 270 size motor. So I just wanted to point that out. Again, all metal gears in here, all metal gears in your axle for your diffs and in your portal gears. Those are metal gears. That really helps with the weight bias. Sorry guys, this is kind of just flopping on here. I did plug mine in on this spot here. I kind of went through the manual and just started looking around at the different options that there were, and these are all light ones, and so you just toggle through and it switches through lighting. So I just plugged it in and I just went to the top 2 of it and it just worked. So makes it easier to plug in, to put it there instead of where it was behind the motor. I had that in the video last night as I was searching through until I found some that worked. It is running aluminum chassis rails. These are just kind of a cut rail. It is not a C-channel, but works perfectly great. They're nice and stiff. And up here we've got the chassis mounted servo with the Panhard. They do make a aftermarket aluminum servo mount you can put on. The wheels themselves here are bead locks. They're 1.2 inch wheels, and they do all right. It feels like there's foam in here. Shocks are friction shocks. It feels a little more stiff than the other ones that I have. There's definitely a front weight bias. Even with the battery in the rear, you can feel the difference. It's definitely heavy to the front. If you move your battery even forward more, you can accentuate that more, but it is pretty good even with the battery in the rear as far as the weight wanting to lean forward there. So yeah, if you get a nice centered, even this is kind of slid a little bit forward in the chassis, so finding your actual center is tricky, but there's a little bit of weight bias to the front. These are waterproof electronics. You can drive them through the water. That's a key thing to mention. They've got new body colors and stuff, stylings with these for the Rock Van and for the Harvest, and I think they have them as well for the T-Hunter. It's kind of one of the new things for it. As you can see, I did remove the stickers and I put mine on the side. Had Harvest stickers on there. Still left the rear one on there. But I just wanted to put my little branding on it. I like the matte color that they did. Feels like it sits a little high on here, but yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. So we'll get this plugged back in and go back to the rest of the other video and show you how it clicks through and all that and the speed on the bench, and then we'll get it outside and show you that. That is a metal skid plate. So aluminum skid plate there. I'm noticing also that it is Phillips on all the screws on the sides. It does come with this little screwdriver to work on this. Trying to see what else. Plastic links, plastic drive shafts. It is running bushings and not bearings, but again, at this price point, I wouldn't expect that, especially with everything that they're trying to build into this with the 2-speed transmission, the larger motor, extra servos, all that. The radio itself is right here. Got some options that you can set in here. And then we'll take a look at the manual. So, which shows us how everything works on here. And number 12 shows us the dial switch for setting up like drag brake and all those kind of things. And there will be a setting for that car light controls here, how to charge the battery, how to bind. We can see here, they've got lots of light interfaces. So we could probably just plug into one of these other ones and see which channel we'd be on and kind of go through it. If we go into one of the other light ones, it should still, when we flicker through, turn it on in one of the modes. So, all the setup stuff. Here's how your gearbox is put together, explosions, all that kind of stuff. I was looking for the remote where it would show the diagram for the different settings. So this shows all the different trucks. Okay. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and we're going to plug this all back up, see how it runs, see how we operate our 2-speed. I guess channel 3 here is going to operate that. And then see if we, channel 4 usually toggles through the lights. We'll see if we can't just plug into one of these other ports with the light and see if it'll work. All right, we got it on one of them. We'll see if that'll work. All right. We had some lights. If we plug into these bottom two, it was always on. Let's see if we plug into the first of this one. Oh, there we go. So you can change it which one you put into here, and it'll cycle through them. Even I plugged it into a 3 one, and I just have it in the first 2 of it. So that's cool. All right, there's a close-up of where I have the wiring plugged in now for the light. It's in the very bottom one. Red is facing up, and it's in the top 2 slots, so that when I cycle through, it now does low, hit it again, goes high, and you gotta click through a bunch of times. But just wanna make sure you could see where I ended up finding. You can plug into the one above it. It just is always on there. If you go into one of these other ones up here, it flashes. And so this one seems to work kind of normal. Lots of clicks. That'll be easier to plug and unplug if I want to take the body off. So that's good news. Let's see what kind of slow crawling we have here. Oh yeah, way fast. Lots of wheel speed in channel 3 all the way forward. Switch it and you do get a nice, pretty good slow crawl. All right, so it's binding a little there and just stopping, but it's going. I would say that it's got pretty fine control there for stock. Motor stock ESC out of the box. That doesn't feel terrible. There's not, even with the larger resistance of trying to get over my hand there, and it's just wanting to eat right now. I can feel that the torque of it feels pretty good. Give it a little speed bump to kind of get it over that center part. So not bad. And again, lights are on. And I have to hit the button a lot of weird times because there's a lot of them that do nothing. Probably because I'm plugged into something else that makes them function different. But there are 2 different brightnesses, and then the rest of the button presses are nothing. But it does have the working lights, so that's pretty cool. And then, yeah. So guys, we're going to take this out. We're going to run it and see how it does out on a course. But, I mean, it feels, for stock, it feels pretty good. Not a ton of articulation there. Couple tires before the back end picks up. So you can see it here better. So how many fingers can go up? 2. If I go up a third, we're just coming off the ground here. So not a ton. I bet if we didn't have the springs so tight, if we did some softer springs, that might help. But they're also not very long springs, so you could change that up. But pretty cool, guys. So let's go out and let's give it a run. Alrighty, guys, here we go. First run in crawler mode as far as our gearing in the axle. Gonna give it a test here on the backyard course. We should turn our lights on though. High beams. Not a ton of flex. All of that can be modified and changed. Most of them don't have a ton out of the box. This so far I would say is probably the best slow speed control of one out of the box. Oh, those are hangers right there. Those should be probably trimmed off if you're going for more comp. There's a new rock section in here we got to try that I just put in. See how it does in here. Little diff hanger. I'll turn it into here. Here we go. The steering's really good. Nice steering angle on it, which helps in some of these tight areas get to where you want it to go. Nice. So on a 24 scale course, the handling of this is pretty good so far on these obstacles. They're kind of catered toward it. So backing up here. So I want to try and split this if I can. Pushing a little bit. There we go. Drop in. Nicely done. Next I want to try to come up over these rocks here we've got in. These are just new, so I'm wanting to test them anyway. Oh, there's a tip. First roll. Yeah, it wants to push there. Plenty of clearance though. Hooked that nice. This is the line we do all the time. We'll see how it does. Splitting the gap here. Yeah, that widened body there sticking out for the fenders is a little problematic. Might be something I just trim back a little bit right here. Maybe I'll bring this in tighter just to give it that room there. But for scale looks, it looks great. Up, little roll. A little bit wider stance that I'm used to. Another roll. Front weight needs the shocks to move a little bit more. I think the stiffness is not helping it. Again, easy fixes because out of the box is doing as good or better than many of them that I've tried. Although I really did like the T-Hunter and the Rock Van. They didn't tend to roll quite as much as this one is.
They say that they lowered the center of gravity on this, but I think it's the shocks that are kind of the detriment at this point. Definitely a stiffer spring than was used in the other ones. Go up and over. Don't want it to roll here. I'll be very upset if it does. I'll have a long walk to get it. All right, man, it looks really good. It's hard because you don't want to base stuff on that. It does sit a little high. Oh, I centered a little, but it's forced its way through. Don't fall. Turned into it, set it down. Now this was the line that the rock van did that kind of shocked me, because this is a tough line for all of my other trucks. And this one just nailed it too. Awesome. That is a tough one to split and get your right wheel up on there. It just did it first try. Most of them take multiple tries. So in that instance, the stiffness of the shocks probably helped it a bit. So good and bad, I guess. There, it did pretty good, climbing over all that. All right, let's see here. Let's see if we can make this hill climb. This has been a problematic one as well. This has wheel speed though, with that 2-speed. Might need it here. So it's not wanting to get into it there. It's not wanting to dig. Doesn't have the torque with the 2-speed. Like I said, this has been a problematic, there it is, spot for all the trucks. And then this happens too. Got to fight it to the side, but they don't want to pull over. Oh, there it is. Oh, nice. That may be a first actually for something tackling that line. Different conditions, of course, tackier, things wash away. Oh, that long rear end hanging up. And a tip coming down. Nope. That's just throwing second and go. Speed, bouncing our way through. That is a quick 18th scale right there. Their 2-speed is definitely geared way different than each other, which I like. Makes it worth having. Nice. Alrighty guys, that is it. That is our Harvest CR-18P EVO by Hobby Plus. And I think it did pretty good for stock out of the box. Pretty impressed with it. The low speed capability is really good. I think the biggest detriment to it, and that's with most of these ready to run, is going to be your shocks and your wheels and tire combo. So switching out those two things, and I feel like the rest of it's pretty capable. Get a little bit more weight on there, and I think it's going to be solid platform, guys. Anyway, hope you guys like this. You can get these at Fair RC, $139.99 at the time of this video. Killer price, guys. Links in the description down below. Thanks for tuning in as always. Have fun RCing. Catch you next time.